These ground beef recipes will seriously knock your socks off. If you love cooking with ground beef and maybe you need some new ideas, I have got you covered. Hey y'all, I'm Valerie and welcome to my kitchen. In today's video, I'm sharing 3 new ground beef recipes that you are gonna love. Now let's go ahead and get started. My husband was ready for some good old hamburger and potatoes, so I made this cheesy hamburger and potato casserole. I've got 4 russet potatoes here that I washed, peeled, and sliced into about 1/4 inch thick slices. Just cut them about like this. Now I'm taking them over to the stovetop to boil them up for just a few minutes. That way they can go ahead and get a little tender and they don't have to take quite as long to cook in the oven. And I only boil them for about 8 minutes. Oh, and I do add in quite a bit of salt. Potatoes need salt. After 8 minutes, I'm going to drain them, and then if you want, you can rinse them with a little cold water. That way they don't sit there and continue to cook. And while all that's happening, over in a large skillet, I've got 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I added in half a diced onion, and feel free to season this however you like. I do about 1/2 teaspoon each of salt and pepper and about 1 teaspoon each of garlic powder and onion powder. And now I'm just breaking this up and I'm going to let it cook until that ground beef is cooked through. You can go ahead and drain that grease, or you can do like me and use a paper towel to soak most of it up. Now I'm adding in about 1 tablespoon of minced garlic and just toss that around and let it cook for about 30 seconds or so, just until that garlic becomes fragrant. Next, you're going to add in 1 can of cheddar cheese soup. If you can't find this though, cream of mushroom would be really good, or even cream of celery. I had to make sure nothing got left behind here. Now I'm adding in about 1/2 cup of sour cream. This next thing is going to add some really good flavor to this. 1 packet of the onion soup mix. Now I'm adding 1 cup of milk. And if you want, you can cook some bacon, crumble it up, and add that in. But I'm just using this 2.5 ounce pack of real bacon pieces. I'm all about convenience and easy here. And besides, every time I cook bacon, it's like Lacey can smell it from a mile away. And let me tell you, she will eat it all. So now you're just going to give all that a really good stir. Then we're going to take it over to the counter to put it all together. To a 9x13 baking dish, I did spray it with nonstick spray. Now I'm pouring in those partially cooked and drained potatoes. And I did try to spread those out a little. That way they were in more of an even layer. Now you're going to cover all those potatoes with that delicious hamburger mixture. And just try to spread that out to cover those potatoes. We are almost done. One more thing to add on. 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. Now this bakes at 350 for about 25 minutes, or until that cheese is melted and bubbly and those potatoes are tender. This casserole is so good. If you're in the mood for some comfort food, this is definitely one you need to try. It'll definitely stick to your ribs and fill you up. Do y'all have a recipe or a meal that you just crave when you're wanting something really good? You'll have to let me know in the comments below. My husband loves this one. He's a meat and potatoes kind of guy. I thought I'd change things up and show you how I make sweet bacon burgers. I'm starting out with 1 pound of ground beef, and to that, I'm adding a couple teaspoons of Dell's seasoning. It's just a steak seasoning marinade. I'm also adding 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. I use the honey barbecue, but use whatever you like. I've got about 1/3 of a cup of cooked and finely diced bacon here. I added that in. Also 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, about 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Then you're going to add 1/2 packet of the onion soup mix. And I added a little bit of the nature seasoning. It's just an all-purpose seasoning. Now you're going to mix this together to get it well combined. And I like to start off with this little dough whisk here. But then, you know what? You just got to get in there with your hands. And if you're not crazy about doing this, go ahead and put you on a pair of gloves. Okay, we like our hamburgers a little on the bigger side. So I take that hamburger mixture and I divide it evenly into 3 hamburger patties. Now, if you want, you can cook these outside on the grill, but it was getting pretty late, so I decided to throw them in the skillet. I had the heat set to medium-high. I drizzled in about 1 tablespoon of oil. Then you're going to add in those hamburgers. These don't take long at all. I just let mine cook for about 4 or 5 minutes. Then I flipped them over and let them cook for another 4 or 5 minutes on that other side. Y'all have to just excuse my hamburger flipping skills here. I don't have no hamburger flipping skills. My husband usually just throws them on the grill, but either way we do them, they always turn out delicious. My pan doesn't cook the most evenly here, so I like to give them one more flip. And that way, I make sure they all get browned up really good. By the way, if you're enjoying these easy ground beef recipes, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Okay, I topped those burgers off with some provolone cheese. I let it melt, and then they were ready to serve. These burgers are absolutely delicious. With the bacon and that barbecue sauce and all those seasonings and that brown sugar, it doesn't make it overly sweet, it just gives it good flavor. I really hope you give this one a try. This ground beef Mongolian noodles comes together in less than 30 minutes. I started out by browning up 1 pound of lean ground beef. While that was cooking, over in a separate pot, I boiled up 10 ounces of spaghetti noodles. You could also use fettuccine or linguine, or you could even use the angel hair pasta. When that ground beef is completely cooked through, I just used a paper towel to get rid of that grease. Then I poured in 1/2 cup of beef broth, 1/2 cup of soy sauce, and I use the low sodium kind. 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 3 teaspoons of minced garlic. The recipe called for minced ginger, but I just used this ginger paste. And I added 3 teaspoons, along with 1/2 teaspoon of pepper and 4 tablespoons of hoisin sauce. And if possible, you don't want to skip out on this. This was my first time using it, and it really took that sauce up to the next level. I stirred everything around and got it all mixed together. I had a pretty good little simmer going on here. I'm going to thicken up that sauce, and to do that, I've got 1 tablespoon of cornstarch mixed with 2 tablespoons of water. You just want to stir it to make sure all those lumps are gone, and then add it right on into your sauce. You can bring this mixture to a low boil. I would stay with this and continue to stir until that sauce starts to thicken. It won't take long at all. You just want this to get thick enough to where, like when I'm dragging my spoon across the pan there, it takes a few seconds for that line to cover up. Now you're going to add in the cooked and drained spaghetti noodles. Then I just tossed everything around until all those noodles were completely covered in that sauce. And y'all, I had no idea how easy this was to make. And I think it was even better making it at home. Not to mention a lot cheaper. This only took me, I'd say, about 20 to 25 minutes. And then it was ready to serve. And if you can be patient, which we were not, it's even better if you can let this sit. Not long, just a few minutes. That way those noodles can absorb some of that flavor. This was so delicious. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You may also like these. Don't forget to subscribe down below for more easy recipes, and I will see you in the next one.